Now, engraved on the metal on the top of the monument, as we said, "Praise be to God," lining the walls of the stairwell are such biblical phrases as "Search the Scripture," "Holiness to the Lord," "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Numerous quotations from Scripture can be found within the Library of Congress walls. One reminds each American of his responsibility to his Maker. Quote, "What doth the Lord require of thee but to do justly and love mercy and walk humbly with thy God?" Micah 6:8. Another in the lawmaker's library preserves the psalmist's acknowledgement that all nature reflects the order and beauty of the Creator. "The heavens declare the glory of God," this is a quote, "and the firmament showeth his handiwork," Psalm 19:1. And still another reference, quote, "The light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not," John 1:5. Millions have stood at the Lincoln Memorial and gazed up at the statue of the great Abraham Lincoln, the sculptor who chiseled the features of Lincoln and granted all but seems to make Lincoln speak his own words inscribed into the walls. He said that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. At the opposite end, on the north wall, his second inaugural address alludes to God, the Bible, providence, the Almighty, divine attributes, and then continues, "As was said 3,000 years ago, and so it must be said, the judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether." On the south banks of Washington's tidal basin, Thomas Jefferson still speaks. Quote, "God who gave us life gave us liberty. Can the liberties of a nation be secured when we have removed a conviction that these liberties are a gift of God? Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, and his justice cannot sleep forever." These words of Jefferson are a forceful and explicit warning that to remove God from this country will destroy it. Those were the words of Senator Robert Byrd back in 1962. Now, we have a visitor center, the Capitol Visitor Center, CVC for short, that costs over $621 million, that is slated to open December 2nd of this year. So far, it had been completely sterilized of any mention of God in any form. It was not until over 100 members of Congress sent a letter and followed up repeatedly with more concern that we finally got a concession this past week that "In God We Trust" would be put above the mock-up of the Speaker's rostrum area there in this visitor center. Because what had been there before was a fraud and a deception, and attempted to represent that there was no "In God We Trust" above our Speaker's head. There will also be accountability someday for this majority leadership playing so fast and loose with the rules. When rules and laws don't matter, then we lose this blessed country that was founded as a nation of laws. Because people are not perfect. People need rules. We need accountability. That means that the majority leadership, if they play by the rules, they're going to lose a vote every now and then. And that's okay. Don't break the rules just to keep from losing a vote. The rule itself is too important to do that. It also means that the Speaker and other leadership of the majority must abide by the rules as is promised. And the promises are actually still on the Speaker's website, but if not, been followed as expected. Let me just read you from the Speaker's, from your own website. This is from the Speaker's website, as I pulled them off today. Every person in America has a right to have his or her voice heard. Been nice if that had been remembered the last day of our session in July, actually August 1st, before there was a 5-week vacation. We didn't get to have the microphones on so we could be heard. But it continues. No member of Congress shall be silenced on the floor. Been nice if somebody noticed that. as has been the practice of Republican leadership in the United States House of Representatives. A little slap there. Does anyone smell hypocrisy? It goes on and says, respectful of both the wishes of the founders and the expectations of the American people, we offer the following principles by restoring democracy in the people's house, guaranteeing that the voices of all people are heard. And that just makes me sick to read those words and to think about what's happened the last year and a half. Then it goes on and says, bipartisan administration of the House. Our goal is to restore accountability, honesty, and openness at all levels of government. To do so, we will create and enforce rules that demand the highest ethics from every public servant, sever unethical ties between lawmakers and lobbyists, and establish clear standards that prevent the trading of official business for gifts. Honest leadership, on the Speaker's website, it said, is not a partisan goal. It is the key to a stronger union. I agree. But it goes on to say we must all work together to put the progress of all Americans ahead of the special interests of the few. I certainly agree with that, too. Goes on and says, with honest leadership and open government, America's leaders can once again focus on the urgent needs of the American people. How about energy? American people need energy. They need cheaper energy. We need to get off the addiction to foreign oil. We're not addressing that. We took off on a 5-week vacation when the people needed us most. The website goes on and says, this is Speaker's website, bills should be developed following full hearings and open subcommittee and committee markups with appropriate referrals to other committees. Members should have at least 24 hours to examine a bill prior to consideration at the subcommittee level. Boy, that would have been nice last week when we got slapped with the energy bill that didn't go through subcommittee, didn't go through committee, had not one single Republican getting to have any input in that energy bill last week. And it was posted, as I recall, at 9:45 the night before we had to vote on it. It'd be nice if these things on the Speaker's website were followed. Said bills should generally come to the floor in a procedure that allows open, full, and fair debate consisting of a full amendment process that grants the minority the right to offer its alternatives, including a substitute. How long has it been on a bill of any substance that the minority was given an opportunity to have amendments, closed rules over and over and over and over?
The gentleman will be recognized for the remainder of his hour, 24 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The website goes on to say members should have at least 24 hours to examine the bill and conference report text prior to floor consideration. Oh, that's another thing. We don't even have conference reports anymore, because if we had a conference, then there would be Republicans from the House that would be required to get to have input. And that's not going to happen. So the conference reports instead